Welcome back to part 2 of exercise 9, random number guesser. And in this part, we're just going to finish off by putting in a nested conditional that's going to go inside our other if-else statement, just to check if we should use guess or guesses so we have the right grammar in case we have one guess. One other thing I could do, now it's going to be really hard to do this because you'd have to guess it in one time. And maybe you could just try it to see if it works. But you could put another if statement in here saying if count is equal to 1, you could make a variable to be guess or guesses. Like here, let's make a variable called guesses. Let's try that out. We'll call it guesses because we already have guess. Let's just call it guesses. So if the count's 1, we'd actually want to do this before the break. So actually what we could do is do it here. We can put another condition here and say if count equals 1, and I could say guesses equals guess, and then else guesses equals guesses. Now, I hope that's not too confusing. All we're doing here is just figuring out our grammar, because if you say 1 guesses, it looks bad. So we're just making another little conditional statement, but we're putting it inside before it breaks. So basically, if it's equal to that, if we get it right, then we're checking which one to use. See, that's what we're doing here. So if we get it right and count was 1, it's going to use guess down here for guesses. But if we don't, if it's anything other than 1, and when we finally get it right, it's going to use guesses. So let's try this out. And again, I don't mean to be confusing. I just mean to try something out if you want to do that. So let me save this. Actually, let me do this. Let me cut this out of here. And let's print it before we even ask. We can do that. So let's print out the random number before we do anything. That way it'll print it out before we even guess. So it'll print it out here. So that'll help us troubleshoot a little bit more. So it's saying it's 7. So now I can go here and I'll do 7. And what I want to do here is if I use 7, it should say you took 1 guess to match 7. That's what it should say. So let's see. And now I have an error. And this is on line 7. So it's saying guess equals int. I don't know if I did any. I have my parentheses there. Let me save this again and run it. So I'm going to put in 3 there. Oh, and you took 1 guess to match 3. Maybe I didn't save it. That's another thing. If it seemed like you did everything right, then maybe just save it and try it again. You took 1 guess to match 3. Let me just run it one more time. Make sure I'll get it wrong because it's 9, and I'll put in like 7. And now I'll put in 9, and it should say you took 2 guesses. And it says you took 2 guesses to match 9. Okay, so that works. So I don't know what happened the first time. And again, if you ever see an error and you don't know what's going on, like I said, just save it and try it again, because we kind of did everything right there. So that's a good way to test it and see what's going on. And this little conditional statement inside a conditional statement actually just checks if the number is 1 and then uses the word guess. And if the number is not 1, else, then it uses guesses. Now, I know we have a guess variable, and now we have a guesses variable, and it makes it confusing, but you know what we're trying to do here. I mean, the whole concept of this, we're guessing a number between 1 and 10, isn't a hard concept, but it's a nice, simple concept for us to go in and kind of explore some of these theories here. We figured out that we can't compare a string with an integer, even if they're the same. The string 6 does not equal the integer 6, and we found out that we can put a conditional statement inside a conditional statement. We found out that we don't always have to have an else when we have an if. We wanted to do these things before the break because it wouldn't check these if we'd break it before it. So we have to make sure we do break after this little if else here. And we have a print statement after everything, so it's not going to print until the loop's done. And the loop's not going to be done until we guess the number. So then it'll print out what it is down here. And I think that's it. So, and you could also use code here to kind of test things so that you can cheat if you want to see if things are working, and you're not just a bad guesser between 1 and 10. You're not just guessing badly. Maybe there's a problem with the code, and there was. So that's why you can put this in here as something to kind of self-check as you go through there to do that. And it's always good to self-check doing things right, doing things wrong, putting in a number that's 11 or something else. We haven't even looked into validating when people put in the wrong numbers right now. So, we didn't put in 13 right now or anything like that. But basically, in this case, unless you get it the right number, it's just going to keep going on anyway. So that wouldn't be an issue. But if you put in letters or anything else, we're going to have errors and stuff like that. So that's all stuff we're going to have to work on. But random number will help us, and we'll be able to do some more complex exercises by using random number. We'll have more fun, I think, when we do that. So that's exercise 9. That's all you have to do there. We're going to do some more, so this is just a little kind of learning kind of exercise. So make sure you do that. Make sure you put in for exercise 9 that you put in that you did it, that it's complete. I mean, I check them anyway, so I'll go through and check them, but when you're done it, if you want me to look at it or anything, make sure you put a comment in there for your assignment.